Hey there everybody, wanted to make a real quick guide on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, just little tips and tricks and things like that that I feel would help people on their playthrough. I'm going to make this really short and sweet, so let's get into it. I'm going to try to avoid spoilers as best I can. I don't know what everyone's definition of a spoiler is, but I'm not going to be talking about the story or showing off things that you unlock as best as I can, but please bear with me. But alright, let's get to it. First up that I wanted to talk about was fast travel in the game. A lot of people do have the knowledge of being able to fast travel to major points in the game like this. You also have fast travel like chocobo stops that you can choose to fast travel to. But if you didn't know, you are able to fast travel to places that you've unlocked and you've completed, like this one right here. This chest in the area, you can actually fast travel to that. The game doesn't really show you that. So if you wanted to get to specific points a little bit better, like for example, instead of this chocobo stop, you wanted to get to this point of the map, you could do that. So that's something that I found that could be helpful. The next tip I want to go over is Queen's Blood. This is the deck that I use for most of the competitors. There is a better deck later that I use, which is Posh, Chocobo, and Space Ranger being added to the mix. This is the cards you get in Golden Saucer, so that will be much later in the game. So early on, this is the one that I use. Cactuar is really strong, and I'm going to show you how I approach each opening hand that helped me beat these opponents early on. Okay, so this is the opening hand that I went with. I was looking for Cactuar, didn't get him, but I did get Magic Pot. Usually I would get rid of Magic Pot as well because it's a 3 card, but it is a useful one. I usually like to build in one lane. That was my strategy for most of my opponents, is I would choose a lane, go for it. If I had Cactuar, I would go top left instead of the bottom area because Cactuar does boost at the bottom area. But for now, we're going to be building bottom. We're trying to get to the middle and get some dominant plays being made here to avoid the enemy taking up a lot of the board. So especially in these earlier matches, the AI isn't super strong. So as you can see, I'm getting to the point now where I am covering most of the board with my color. He's got one spot left at the top, and after that I'm going to try to make it to where he can't build any longer. So now he's at a position where he can't put anything, and I've essentially won the match. That's kind of the strategy that I go for most of the game. But it's up to you if you want to pursue it or if you want to become a little bit more tactical with where you place things. But yeah, this is the strategy that I go for. It's not going to work every time, so if you feel like it's not working this time around, then just hit start, hit restart, and then just go straight back into it again, because sometimes it won't play out great, but this is what I've found to be the most useful. And like I said, these are cards that you get right away, so it shouldn't take you too long. Next up on my list here is the Chocobo scent, kind of going around trying to get stuff out of the ground. This is something that you do throughout the game for a good part of the game. And at first it wasn't the most informative on how to do things. So the way that you have to do this is you hold down the scent button, and the arrow will pop up. And so you would think that, okay, I let go and I go in that direction and I go hunting for it. But if you are facing a direction and you hold down the scent button, the arrow will pop up. Keep holding down scent and slowly spin your camera to the direction, and you can see a line pop up. And that makes it much more efficient, much more useful for finding these different elements or different things in the ground, instead of doing it the other way, because the other way can become very finicky. So again, we're going to smell the ground, keep turning until we find the spot. As we can see that it's probably closer to inside this tunnel, so do the same thing. And there it is. So hopefully that helps. I know that it was a little tricky for me at first. I didn't really know how to do this mini game, but after knowing just to hold the button down and spin the camera, it made it much easier. Okay, so the next tip I want to go over is synergy attacks and synergy skills. As you can see, if holding down the right bumper or your block button will open up your synergy skills tab. And so what you want to do is certain moves have certain things, and you unlock them through the folios chart thing that you can unlock later in the game, and I believe chapter 2 is pretty early on. But yeah, so synergy skills are when holding block, you can use these with your teammates depending on what the enemy's doing. So that one's pretty straightforward. But if you look down at the health bar of everybody, Tifa, Barret, and Cloud, see these little tabs, these little lines? Those are all the things you need for your synergy abilities. If you look at your synergy abilities, you can see that there's 2 red bars per character, or maybe even 3 depending on what skill you're doing. And the way to build those up is by doing abilities with said character. You can do any ability as long as it's an ability, not a spell. And if you use them, your bars, if you can see on the bottom right, start to go up. So once you build up 2 abilities with each character, right now I'm building up with Cloud. I used 1. I'm going to go ahead and use Braver again. And that gives him 2 bars. And then with Barret, we're going to go ahead and use Steel Skin again. So now Cloud and Barret both have 2 bars each. And if you go down to synergy abilities, it will become available for them to use United Focus. This is going to help your gameplay a lot because you're going to have different synergy abilities that help with having infinite mana for a little bit of time, giving you an extra limit bar ability, a stronger one at that, things like that. So you can go ahead and use it. And the game explains this, but this is just to help those. I know it's a little confusing at first, seeing all the different bars and how to get the synergy bills available, but that is how you do it. For this next portion of the video, I am going to be touching on places later in the game, so if you consider that a spoiler, then click away now or scroll away now, whatever it is. We are going to be touching on Costa del Sol, Golden Saucer, and then also leading up to a later chapter. So these are spoilers for all of that stuff. The last hint I'm going to give is also talking about what chapter is going to be the cutoff for doing any side quests. I feel like that's useful information for people who don't want to miss anything but also want to do the story at a comfortable pace. So if you don't want to know any of that, then scroll away now. Thanks for watching. But if you do, then keep watching. Okay, so later in the game, you are going to be having this little mini-game section at Costa del Sol. And I saw some people saying that they had issue with the shooting mini-game. And so the one thing that I will say to do is definitely turn off adaptive triggers. On the bottom left of my screen, you can see you can turn this off and on. Turn it off, and you can also turn off motion sensor if that's not your thing. But yeah, something that you want to be aware of is these purple ones spin and become gold, so that's something that you want to go for. There's also little dudes on the bottom that come up every once in a while that you can go for. And be aware that there is no ammo, so with adaptive triggers turned off, you can shoot the hell out of this thing. And that helps a lot. You know, you don't have to really worry about too much of your accuracy. You can kind of just go to town. And that should be very helpful. But hopefully that helps you get past these challenges and you can get the scores you need. Okay, next thing I want to go over is Chocobo Racing. Chocobo Racing is really fun in this game. I'm so happy with what they did. But there is a lot of them to accomplish, and what I wanted to show you guys was the Chocobo I used and the loadout that I used. So for me, what I found best was Aponi, the Chocobo that you get at Cosmo Canyon. I actually held off on doing the Chocobo races until later when I had Aponi, because Aponi was really fun, and it's got an ability called Hoverbird that's really useful. I'm going to show you some instances that are where it becomes helpful. Also, this is the loadout that I went with. This is the one that you get at Costa del Sol. It's by default, so this is everything that I used. This one gives you catch up, where you get speed if you're going after going out of bounds or crashing. You've got Curator that makes the items more efficient, and then Determination. This one, I don't really use it that much. You could probably find something better than this, but I just had it on because it's a whole set. Who cares? Alright, so the first thing that you want to know with Chocobo Racing is you want to start holding X as soon as you see the number 2. You'll see the Chocobo wound up, and then that gives you the boost that you need to start off the race. Also, these blue ones are priority. You want to get to 10 speed right away before anything else, so don't worry too much about other items. I mean, obviously grab them if they're in the way, but you want to get 10 speed first so you can get that that maximum speed early on and use it throughout the entirety of it. But yeah, this is one of the later races. You probably won't see this until much later, but I wanted to showcase stuff that Aponi does that's really cool in certain maps that make Aponi really useful. So with a Curator buff that we got from the chess piece, you do end up getting more efficiency from the items you pick up. So Hoverbird is really useful. because you can go over terrain in certain areas, and as you become more familiar with these maps, you'll find out which areas are best used for hoverbird. This map in particular, maybe I should have picked a better map, but it's not super useful, but you can go over hazards like that. You can go over the terrain. Hoverbird is really useful for certain maps where there's a lot of turns that you can make a lot more time on. With Curator, you can build up that hoverbird ability much faster. But yeah, these are little tips that I think are useful for a lot of different races that you can be in. This is the build that I use to win every single race, and there's a lot of them, not even just the ones that you might be able to unlock right away, because they're more and more getting unlocked as you play the game. Alright, and for the final tip that I want to leave you guys, it is the cutoff point for side quests and all of that in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So click away now if you don't want to know that. Final warning. But yes, at the beginning of Chapter 12, once you show up on this dock with Sid and the gang and everybody's here, then this is around the time that you are able to do everything you want. There is one thing more that you have to do before you can kick off everything, and that is there is a quest line that leads you to the Golden Saucer. You're going to head over to the Golden Saucer, and you're going to speak to the main guy there, Dio. And once Dio gives you the quest that he wants you to go on, the game is going to prompt you to go stay at the Haunted Hotel. And so you're going to want to avoid doing this quest. This is the last thing that's going to lock you out of everything else. So you can talk to Dio, and then that'll open up the battle arena, that'll let you fast travel, that'll let you do everything. But this is the final quest that will kick off the end of the game and all the other chapters after that, because you lose certain party members and certain moments of the game are locked out now. So there's a lot of things that happen. So that's the final thing I wanted to leave you with, if you wanted to know that. But other than that, if you guys have any other things you want me to let you know about when it comes to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I've been playing this game. I've already beat it twice. I'm doing all the side content. I'm doing everything I can. I'm trying to get the Platinum Trophy. And I'm trying to help people along the way if they have any questions. But if you have anything like that, feel free to reach out in the comments, reach out on Discord, anything like that, and I will be more than willing and more than happy to help. But until next time, I'm Vash. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay beautiful, stay smart. See you later!